in the period after this election, we'll also be using U.S. Postal Service change of addresses, but that's, sometime after this election. Farm and Motor Vehicles is our main source of both the new registrations that they receive, but also that's the main file we use for doing the data matching. If somebody doesn't have a driver's license, then they send it off to Social Security Administration and comes back to them. So they're the conduit also for the Social Security Record Center in Washington.
Last quick question. Obviously, this is maybe the most egregious issue of voter intimidation you've seen so far. Are there any other issues of intimidation or disenfranchisement you've seen so far?
We've received many, many complaints about mass mailings of absentee ballot requests that had out-of-state addresses for the return, Colorado, Florida, that kind of thing. Now, this is not where you should apply an absentee ballot. It's a deceptive practice of some kind. But also, there's been a lot of questions in people's mind. Why am I getting an absentee ballot? I didn't request it, that kind of thing. So, the citizens who complained have felt like, this was confusing, and their main question was, why did I get this? Am I not registered? Should I do this? And why does it say Steamboat Springs? And some of them thought that we had mailed them to us, which is, of course, a separate problem. But that's been another big issue that we've found this year. There have been mass mailings of absentee ballot requests with the return address being someplace out of state, and that's just, it's just not correct. And it would, I think, could confuse some voters, did confuse voters who called us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary.
Does your office investigate those types of things?
If there's a deceptive practice, in this case, we turned it over to the county attorney in the county in which it's received. So that was Hennepin County. And I think, that people have legitimate questions because they see the national news and they think, oh no, it's like that in Minnesota.
And on the ACORN issue, you haven't seen any widespread problems here in Minnesota like you have?
No.
And so, in your opinion, you've addressed each of his, in his letter, you've addressed each of it adequately?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and also, some of the questions were duplicated, so we attached both when we sent it back to him and said, see this part. There was a question about people who appeared to be quite old, and we explained in the first letter and in the second letter that when the databases were created, in the old days we didn't ask people when they were born. We were, I'd say, more polite in those days. And so people who were older, they put in either 1850 or 1900 as their birth date so that the computer would accept their records. Of course, they're not 150 years old. But there are 1,400 Minnesotans that are over 100, according to
1,400,
Isn't that great?
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that seemed kind of amazing. That's their estimate of how many Minnesotans are 100 years old or so. But in any case, we have a lot of old people in Minnesota, but the computer system was a consolidation of county systems, and they were consolidations of voter records from a long time ago when we didn't ask people their year that they were born.
I know only Minnesotans can act as election challengers now. Are there any rules on who can be an election challenger? I've heard rumors of off-duty cops maybe being hired.
I think if you're a Minnesotan, and that's good. I mean, I think we want Minnesotans.
Right.
But then you have to make your challenge based on personal knowledge, and then you have to sign a. You do it in writing. You write it in.
No further restrictions.
No. I mean, challenges are a good thing. It's just not when they cause fights. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.